jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports,
Once again, you're tuned in to WCS. What's good, everybody? Hey, happy Monday to start your week off, man. I know people out there working everything like that. Big shout out to the ones who's on the clock right now. You know, like I always say, providing for their families and everything. At least you have a job. You out there getting it, and that's what it is, man. Big shout out to the supporters. You much appreciated. Thank you very much. The ones who tune into the channel. You know, all I do is report, you know, authenticity, try to keep it as genuine as possible. Sometimes I have to swerve off to the left and handle some other business and reactions and everything, retorts, rebuttals. That's just the way social media is. But at the end of the day, you know, it comes down to boxing, MMA, bare knuckle fighting, BJJ. You know what I'm saying? Multifaceted of combat sports in general. This topic that I'm speaking on today is fascinating for all the wrong reasons, bro. If anybody attend fights, if anybody has pretty much been to the regional footprints and watched the fight card, something for which I'm about to explain to you can actually go down. They talk about this sport being unregulated. Within a sport that's unregulated, you're able to see people do unregulated type things. And it's not beneficial to when it comes to the fairness aspect of it. You know, boxing, as I always say, doesn't consist of morals and principles. And the individuals who sometimes compete in this sport, they totally understand that. And sometimes people who train those fighters in the sport, they know what it's about. So when they have a meeting, or when they have a crossroads with situations that the obvious can see that's messed up, they don't really blink an eye at it as much because they know the ins and outs. They don't see it. Promoters not having money. You know what I'm saying? Fights falling out. Glove situation. Money, you know, money offers. And then absent contracts. It's been fighters who sign contracts and they do the paperwork and still get put on the shelf. It's been fighters who signed the contract, everything worked out for them. They went on to have a glorious career. You know what I'm saying? And then you have fighters who sign contracts, and then due to the situation, that contract falls through, and then another deal is offered. But you have to, you know, go back to square one to get that paperwork for a new, fresh contract. And you know what, as I do, sometimes people just don't want to go through that hassle. So they just want you to take the easy road. Hey, just take this right here and don't worry about nothing else. Just go out here and fight. And you know, there's been a lot of guys that just went out there and fought, man. And they end up being an absolute disaster. So the Mickey Bey situation, Mickey Bey versus Tevin Farmer. all right, was supposed to go down at the Finley Toyota Center, Prescott Valley, Arizona. This fight was scheduled 8/12/2022. You know, the undercard and everything is only one fight I really want to talk about on the undercard, and that's Tyi Edmonds, who was the co-main. He was supposed to face Lorenzo Simpson. Okay, we were seeing this play out on YouTube just a bit, where Mickey Bey was explaining his side of the story on why the fight fell out. Now, it's no culpability of his own as to why the fight played out the way it did, as far as the cancellation. Because unbeknownst to us, not really having familiarization with the card, all we knew is these two familiar world champions, former world champions, right, were due to headline on this card. That was a promoter and a co-promoter. We're gonna get through all the wickets on how everything was supposed to happen, but didn't happen. And then in between time, with certain individuals trying to save the card, it seems like they was trying to cut some corners. They seemed like they was trying to go over some hills around the bend. And that's just not the way you do business, especially when you know you're going to be in there in a competitive fight. That's just the way of the land, man. Like in rotation, this stuff happens all the time. So what I was able to do, because I hear everybody criticizing Tyi Edmonds, which I thought him and his team did a damn good job with maintaining focus on the situation and not listening to the yeah. It was too much talking going on. And, you know, the way they was collecting data and they was paying attention, you can tell they've been around the sport long enough to pretty much interpret what was going on, which was smart of them to do that. Just pay attention instead of just trying to make an impulsive decision that could have worked out bad for the whole team. So I did an interview with them, right? And I'm gonna let y'all hear it. So, because they need their side of the story told the correct way without bias. Without bias, you know what I'm saying? We need for them, who was almost like in the worst case scenario you can get, because the promoter money fell out, right? The promoter's money fell out. That's why Mickey Bey and Tevin Farmer left the arena. Now, you can still have the fight if you have a certain amount of rounds to that bout card, which is 24 rounds, okay? So the main event can fall out, but long as you have that already scheduled and the fights that's on the card that met the weigh-ins and they have that 24 rounds is good. Well, Mickey Bey and Tevin Farmer fell out, so we had the co-main event. That fight can still go on. The whole card don't have to fall out. So they was trying to make arrangement to keep this fight card between Tyi Edmonds and Lorenzo Truck Simpson. Obviously, Truck Simpson is the more popular fighter between the two, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about the business aspect of boxing. A lot of people claim they know the business. A lot of people will get on here and talk the business. But in this particular case, you wouldn't know what was going on behind the scenes unless you are the one behind the scenes. Period. So how bad it was, they didn't have the money on deck for Bey and freaking Farmer. They left. Boom, they gone. Now, this what I'm about to talk about, it deals with the co-main event that was still in the building, because obviously Calvin Ford trains Truck Simpson, and that's Devin Haney's friend. Devin Haney is a popular figure in boxing, the reigning, defending, undisputed lightweight world champion. You know, he was in there. I saw Darren Cunningham. I saw a whole lot of faces in there, you know, that was associated with you know, the presence of Truck Simpson. Now, Tyi Edmonds is 14-4, 9 knockouts, 14 victories, 4 losses, hosting 9 knockouts. Lorenzo Simpson is 11-0, undefeated with 7 knockouts. All right, and he's a southpaw. So let's get down to it, man. I want y'all to listen to this audio. I want y'all to pay attention. And we're going to try to decipher. And look, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of what actually still exists in boxing to this day. Because when you're looking at fights from the outside, it's easy for us to make judgment on fighters. Why they doing this, or why they fought so bad, or why contracts always play a role. And the one scenario I can lead you to reflect upon is the Curtis Harper situation, where he stepped into the ring with F.A. Jogba, and then he left the ring with F.A. Jogba standing there like, what is going on? The money wasn't right. They told him he was getting paid a certain amount of money, and he ended up getting paid less than that. So let's go on this walk. Let's get it. Let me get to the live chat right quick. Mr. Pass on deck. Big up WCS. Salute to you. Ghost on deck. What's good? So let's go ahead and get down to it. To this audio. Y'all please pay attention. And shout out to Tyi Edmond. I don't have nothing in the game. I'm just media reporting on this situation because I felt like it was a one-sided wave going on social media and making it seem like this fighter, Tyi Edmonds, was was somewhat scared about stepping into the ring and everything else. But when you look at his box rec, it doesn't tell me that story. He had way better competition than Truck Simpson. I'm not predicting how the fight would have played out, but I'm just saying, like, what would he have to be scared about? Even with 4 losses, he had better opposition and more experience than Truck Simpson. But people are saying he was scared. His team was making up and this, that, and the other. But you're gonna hear some great information in here that you need to pay attention, regardless of what you're hearing on other channels that choose to push a narrative. You need to understand situations like this happen in boxing, and let's get it.
So basically, like I was saying, what happened was we was back there prepping, getting ready for the fight. I got dressed up, and they came, and right before we walked out, it was a lady. Now, mind you, at the weigh-in, they had us sign another contract. We didn't really know like what was going on with that contract, but we didn't like that situation either. But come fight night, right before we walked out, we was the next fight, and they come in there and bring us a third contract. This third contract that they had brought us. And when they brought it to us, we was like, "What is this?" It was like, "Well, we need y'all to sign this because long story short, on that contract, they were saying that they wasn't gonna pay us because they wasn't liable for paying us if the other co-promoter didn't give us our check. They didn't have to cover it. They was only gonna give us $100. So we was like, how come the main event backed out? And they was like, well, the main event backed out because of money issues. We was like, okay, well, is our money here? The promoter was like, well, we don't know if it's here. Well, before we even step out and go out there to the ring, can we find out if our money is here? Mm-hmm. So we get the manager and everybody on the phone. They all go out there, and they come back. All I know, they come back, say, "Ty, take gloves off. We ain't fighting. Our money ain't here." So I was like, all right. So we taking our money off, and that's when this other main media people came to us, and they wanted to interview us, but they was with my opponent.
Correct, I know. Yep.
And they came over there, was like, "Ty, we want to get the story out, just to let the people know what's going on." So I did all this, what I'm doing with you on the phone, and we let everybody know how they can follow me. Told them what was happening with the promotion and everything, and he was like, "All right, that was good." Next thing you know, all we know is, I guess Haney and all the truck, his team, they just showed up, I guess, for our fight. So when they come in there, they just bombard the room like mafia or something. And they just throwing it at us, talking about the money just arrived or something like that. We got cash. What y'all want to do? You still get in the ring or something like that? But the fight was already thrown off. Manager, everybody, like, hey, we done. The commissioners refused to come back in the room. Like, they didn't even want no part of it. The commissioners didn't want no part of it. The whole fight was thrown off.
Why were they trying to? Hey, Ty, why was they trying to insinuate, like, okay, Devin Haney was going to pay you money and the fight can still be made and there was a contract involved? What was that about?
I can tell you that part. That actually came from what's him. That actually came from, he walks in the room and he says, okay, I have the money. And we were like, well, we don't have a contract with you. We understand that you want to step up and now you want to pay him to fight, but we don't have a contract with you. We have a contract with a promoter that we signed a contract with that's supposed to take care of us. And he says, well, you're here now. I'm willing to give you cash. And then we say, well, that's not how this thing works. You don't just throw cash at us and then decide, okay, yeah, we're going to take the fight, which I didn't say it at the time, and I didn't want to say it on camera. But if you watch the clip, you heard me say, hold on, let me find out something.
And you walked out. Yeah.
Right. And I made that phone call. When I came back, I said, I didn't think about that. You heard me say that too. I said, I didn't think about that. Well, I didn't want to say it on camera, but the thing is.
So what she's about to mention is something that's very important about making hasty decisions. And like you've seen on my thumbnail, right? What does that say? Pretty much the statement was saying, my fighter isn't your fighter. So she had to go make a phone call, her being the mother, her being the previous manager. Now listen to this gem. Listen to this gem and how it all makes sense. And you ask yourself, did they make the right decision? You ask yourself, do they deserve the criticism that they're getting? Because I think they did. They made the right move.
If something was to happen to Tyi, there's no insurance. Because Devin Haney just gave him cash. If he gives him cash on camera, that's a binding contract. It's on film that you gave him cash. So now you're fighting under him. You're not fighting under the promoter any longer.
You're not fighting under the promoter any longer. How bad could that be? Because the promoter, if you're fighting under the promoter, whether it be for 50 or 20 or $10, still within that contract, whatever happens in that ring, it's insurance that the promoter has to have on the fighter. Period. That's any promoter. You have to have insurance so that fighter can be taken care of. Period. If they go out here and make a side deal and it's on camera that, okay, it's been proven that the promoter don't have the money. The main event has already left the building. Now we're dealing with the co-main. They're attached to different people like Team Haney and everything else. They do a transaction, no paperwork. As you look at the video that's on Blue Blood's channel, you hear his pops pretty much saying the contract. He mentions the contract. Give us a contract. It's a reason why he wants the contract, because administratively it binds Devin Haney to making that deal, and also their fighter needs to be taken care of as far as their health. Listen to this now.
So my thing.
And you walked out. Yeah.
Right. And I made that phone call. When I came back, I said, I didn't think about that. You heard me say that too. I said, I didn't think about that. Well, I didn't want to say it on camera, but the thing is, if something was to happen to Tyi, there's no insurance. Because Devin Haney just gave him cash. If he gives him cash on camera, that's a binding contract. It's on film that you gave him cash. So now you're fighting under him. You're not fighting under the promoter any longer.
Talk to him.
So, right. So my thing was, I didn't think about that at the moment because there was so much stuff going on, because I'm a promoter myself. And I know I'm supposed to have insurance. So if something happens to a fighter, I got to pay for it. It doesn't matter if he gets a cut. Doesn't matter if he falls out the ring and hit his head and now they think he has a concussion or whatever the case may be. Hey, he's not covered. So we were like, that's when my husband stepped up and said, where's the contract? And they like, why you want a contract? This Devin Haney standing here. You heard him kept saying, this Devin Haney, he's good for it. Oh, I got the money. And we're like, no, I still got to make a phone call. Y'all don't understand. He's under management. And
that's when they was like, well, you the fighter. It's up to you.
Exactly.
I was like, I got a lot of people in my pocket. It's not just my decision. I got to make sure everybody comfortable with this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, and I'm like, and then at that point, it's like, we already throw it off. So we first of all, we disappointed in the promotion. You brought us down here for a whole week. And then to find out that we don't even have a check at the end of the night. So we all throw it off, you know, and then he come in there with that. But it's just like my mom was saying, like, mentally, I was trying to stay in there. I was like, we finna fight regardless. So they're like, how you feel mentally? I was like, well, I refuse to try to check out because I came here to fight. So I'm trying to talk to myself. But like they said, look what he got. You know, he got his whole team here, and then we just us three. Y'all all come here like the mafia talking to us like this, and then we still here fighting. Like, in the back of our mind, we still fighting and tripping on the promotion side of it. But now y'all throwing cash, and it's like everything was pressure. You know what I'm saying? So we just went with it. It didn't feel right. And you can't get in that ring, you know, with any kind of thing going on in your mind. Boxing a dangerous sport.
Hey, what I can say, Tyi, you know, you was sitting over there, you was maintaining composure, but I have to salute your parents for doing. I remember your pop saying, yeah, you saying a lot, but you ain't listening. You know what I'm saying? He told them that. And I agree with what y'all was saying. They was coming in there. It was full frontal attack. They was just talking fast, a lot of moving parts. And even your mom, she pretty much was trying to, you know, tell them it's just not an exchange of cash. I'm going to make a phone call. I need to try to see some things. You know what I'm saying? I need to figure some stuff out. And
like they said, the commissioners, man, we couldn't get a card. We couldn't get nothing. Like, man, they didn't even want to be present. We didn't have nobody standing playing the middleman. Like, we didn't have nothing, none of that. And then by Devin Haney stepping up doing what he's doing, pretty much it voided all that commissioning and everything that was taking place that night. Drug test, all that. That's thrown out the window. This is pretty much a street fight now because we just turned to, all right, here's some cash, get in the ring. You can do that with anybody then. If that's the case.
Correct.
Yeah. And we look at it from a business standpoint. And in my heart, I believe that, okay, you all looking at the fact that you all are of another status. That and y'all looking at us like we don't know any better.
Correct.
And me being a female, for one, I never play that card because I've been in the corner and I've been around this boxing game for 37 years. I've never played the female card. But for them to keep throwing around the phrase, your mom, your mom, your mom, his mom, his mom, his mom, you know, I'm your scapegoat. You want to make it seem like he's weak because his mom is doing the talking. So you're giving me no respect. You're not looking at the fact that I am his trainer. I am his coach just as well. I suppose I'm doing what anybody else would do for their fighter. The fighter is first because I'm sitting there looking at this other kid that just fought and got his jaw broke and he got paid $100.
Wow.
So you pretty much understand why that kid was paid $100 because the promoter, I mean, that's pretty much what was going down. I'm not sure if that Filipino fighter originally signed a contract for his purse to be $100. I doubt it coming from the Philippines because it leaves minimal purse revenue for them to make. But I believe they was pretty much chopping it up to say, oh, we can pay out $100. You're just gonna get $100 vice what they originally agreed to. You got to, you know, $100 is different than $1,500. Seriously, $100 is different than $1,500. Let's keep rocking.
I'm like, says we just made a bad decision. We made a bad decision. And I'm like, I'm looking at him and he said, we're from the Philippines. He got paid $100. And
they brought them guys from Philippines. The Filipinos paid him $100. That's messed up.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
And that's one area they making about you, like, you know, Devin was willing to pay $100. But I'm like, y'all are missing the business aspect of that. You know, they looking out for their fighter. They kept on telling you, Tyi, that, hey, you the fighter at the end. They make a decision. And they know that's your parents. It was disrespectful 360.
Very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. And they're not looking at the point. Yes, at the end of the day, like I told him, I said, they're saying I contradicted myself. So I want to make sure I come on record and say this. I didn't contradict myself. Yes, I have told him ever since he stepped into this business that you are in control of your business.
Mm-hmm.
It is your business. But me being his mom and his manager, that's yeah, I was his manager at the time. As of a few weeks ago, I'm not his manager anymore, but at the time I was, and I've always told him, you're in control. If you don't want to fight somebody, you don't have to fight them. If you do want to fight, you let me know. It's up to you. So when I made that statement, I came back and told them, but I'm no longer his manager. So him having a manager, you know, we're not of the status. We're not Floyd Mayweather and Devin Haney's where you can point at somebody and say, you going to do this and you going to do that and I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that because they got all that money and they know that person going to do whatever they tell them to do. Mm-hmm. We're not in that position. With his management team, he trusts his management team. He trusts his management team to make the right decisions, so he respects them if they tell him, no, don't get in the ring because they're not holding their contract to this, and that. So it wasn't a contradiction. It was me pointing out, don't act like he hasn't been told that because he knows. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's where that came from. And then they want to say his body language, you know, saying...
Yeah, they in the media talking he was scared. Well, I'm not even going to entertain that. And they like they say, anybody that knows Tyi know he wasn't scared, you know?
Hey, you fought better opposition anyway.
Man, I was like, to even entertain that thought that they, you know, that he's scared, I wouldn't even be in Phoenix if I was scared.
Correct.
Weigh in, all that. I was there a whole week, loved up. I mean, I don't see him like everybody seeing him. So... to say I was scared, I wouldn't even sign the contract. So I didn't understand why everybody talk. That's just fans of his that talking like that. But like I said, we weren't even going to entertain that. But my people is tripping on that.
Yeah, they was acting like you know, talking about he was gonna go in there and knock you out. And I say, well, pay attention to his box rec. Where do you see the trend of him going in there and getting knocked out? He went to this with Steve Rose. Y'all was up here talking about how tough Steve Rose were. You know what I'm saying? He's fought better opposition. And what was the glove situation with the title and Grant gloves?
Now, this is where it gets very interesting, people. And appreciate y'all tuning in. Hit the like button, of course. This is where it gets interesting because we all know the gloves are there to protect the fighters. All right. The glove is simply there to protect the hands of the fighter, not protect the face of their opponent. But in certain circumstances, the glove could be used to have certain benefits where the fighter can have an advantage. All right, gloves are very, very important. And if you are not understanding that, or you're not educated by being in the gym, just like many others and Shaw News and plenty of other people, you wouldn't understand how important it was for the situation that played out the way it did with these gloves. When some of y'all just record and y'all act like, man, oh, you got another black fighter across the dressing room. We're talking about gloves. We talking about gloves that's damn $500 some, and we talking about gloves that's way below that price point. The quality of the gloves, and also how the quality of one glove that may be undervalued vice the top quality of a glove that can be purchased by somebody with a bit more money. It can be night and day in the ring, especially in a fight at this weight class. So why was it like, oh, it's just a simple decision that Tyi made? He didn't want this. He didn't want. No, we always got to hear both sides of the story, and I always getting it from the voice of those who's out here being denigrated as if the man was scared and everything. But pay attention to this scenario right here. All right. Pay attention to this right here when it comes to the gloves, y'all, because everything you hear is not what it seems.
We were just saying we wanted to be on an even playing field. When they brought them gloves in there, man, them Grant gloves, we was like, what are these fighting in? Grant gloves. Let's see those gloves. And when they brought them to us, they gave us some gloves we ain't never even heard of. So we was like, all right, so what gloves he fighting in? They brought these used Grant gloves in there, look like some, man, you should have seen. I said, so we look like we throwing pillows and he throwing these. We just want to be on an even playing field. Either put me in a pair of Grants or put them in the same thing we wearing.
He said, either put me in a pair of Grants. Once again, either put me in a pair of Grants. Once again, either put me in a pair of Grants. What's so difficult about that?
Not that we was against his Grant gloves. We wasn't against that. It just, whatever he's going to be wearing, either put me in some Grants or put him in some gloves that I got. It's not that I don't know where they get all this, we was against Grant. I don't understand that. I don't know.
So let me play this video right quick that's out there. All right. Let me play this video right quick so you can see how interpretations become misconstrued.
I told her, I said, you got $750. She not even gonna let him feel it. She gonna stop it. She might throw the towel. Yeah, she talking right when you hit that. He got a good record, though. He got some experience. Thanks to his mom. His mom that shit choking his head.
So pretty much, Blue mentioned he pointed to the glove. He want to wear titles over Grants. That was the little back and forth that was being pushed, the narrative. He want to wear titles over Grants, titles over Grants. Then you just hear Tyi mention that they gave me some gloves I never heard of. So it couldn't have been title because we heard of title. It couldn't have been title. And then they was wearing Grants. So it even makes it look worse, even worse, if they gave a boxer. This guy has 19 fights, right? If you gave a fighter some gloves they never heard of, and you're wearing Grants, and you want them to walk out to the ring and contend, is that the question we asking?
Where they got that from? That may be the message that was relayed to them through the commissioner, because I had to correct him in the room as well. I said, it's not that we don't want you in Grants. I said, I understand your country says that you can bring whatever gloves you want. I said, but the problem is when they brought us gloves, they brought us some hidden moves.
Did you just hear that? They brought them some hidden moves. Have you heard of that funky glove? Have you heard what champion? Somebody please go find a champion of notable status and ask them about hidden moves. How disrespectful can it be? They brought this team hidden moves, y'all. Hit and move. What glove is that? That looked like a glove, look, that you can buy on Black Friday at Target. Get some hidden moves for a starter kit for your little kid. They brought them some hidden moves and they wearing Grants, y'all. This dude is 11-0. They bought this man some hidden moves. Let's hear that again.
That is hidden move because they're not holding their contract to this, and that. So it wasn't a contradiction. It was me pointing out, don't act
again. You know, unless y'all got they said unless y'all got $750, we can go find y'all.
Him me being a promoter, I may not know.
We cut our hand wraps off. I said, that's fine. We cut our hand wraps off. They bring the glove.
Know that because he know. So, you know, that's where that came from. And then they want to say his body language, you know, said they bloody title gloves. That was not us. The commissioner.
Yeah, that was the commissioner.
Hold on for a second.
The commissioner found.
Like, Tevin, man, the Grant gloves. We was like, what are these fighting in? Grant gloves. Let's see those gloves. And when they brought them to us, they gave us some gloves we ain't never even heard of. So we was like, all right. So what gloves he fighting in? They brought the used Grant gloves in there, look like some. Like, man, you should have seen. I said, so we look like we throwing pillows and he throwing these. I like, we just want to be on an even playing field. Either put me in a pair of Grants or put them in the same thing we wearing. It's not that we was against his Grant gloves. We wasn't against that. It just, whatever he's going to be wearing, either put me in some Grants or put him in some gloves that I got. It's not that I don't know where they get all this, we was against Grant. I don't understand that.
Then he asked, look, being that this isn't their first rodeo, he just said, put it on a level playing field pretty much. He says, you're going to be wearing these high-end gloves, and he's throwing pillows, and you're wearing some Grant gloves, which are pretty much better quality, right? They just want to be on level playing field. Even, you know, with the title situation. But they gave them some hidden moves, y'all. Some hidden moves.
I don't know where they got that from. That may be the message that was relayed to them through the commissioner, because I had to correct him in the room as well. I said, it's not that we don't want you in grants. I said, I understand your contract says that you can bring whatever gloves you want. I said, but the problem is when they brought us gloves, they brought us some hidden moves. What is hidden move? I ain't never in my 37 years heard no hidden moves. There may be some gloves out there, but put him in hidden moves, and you put him, and he's wearing grants. Okay, he brought his own gloves. Fine, that's fine that he brought his own gloves. But the promoter they were supposed to present us with what he would be in the day before, and they did not do that.
There it is. You heard it. You heard it. Anybody who go to fights, anybody who's behind the scenes, know. I as media has been there and know that they were supposed to present the gloves. It ain't no day of the fight. Goddamn, you have some stuff. Come on, man. This is why they say boxing is the hurt business. Fighters not only get hurt in the ring, as far as their performance, they can get hurt in the ring with other variables such as this, man. It's a lot of things that didn't go down. A lot of people was trying to cut some corners and, take some hidden corridors. You know what I'm saying? Sliding and shit. They never had the opportunity to get the check on the gloves, man. That's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. So you can't sit up here and point the finger at Team Edmond as if they didn't know what was going on. They response to the chaos that they was experiencing and all the damn little hidden secrets of Pandora's box and shit that was coming out. They did an excellent job, man.
They
did that right before we walked out. They said they wanted to see me wrap my hands and they weren't changing their grant gloves unless we cut our hand wraps off. I said, that's fine. We cut our hand wraps off. They bring the gloves over there. And they still refused to change their gloves. They was ready to call the fight off the gloves. It was them that said, well, we're not fighting then. Unless y'all got $700, they said, unless y'all got $750, we can go find y'all some grant gloves. If not, we're not putting them on and we're not fighting, no deal. But, we worked it out and they found the 2 pair of titles and we both were going to fight us some titles. So they came up off of that.
Okay. Let me get to the video with the titles because obviously, people's up here thinking that team was given, it got ugly quick. Like they was presenting title gloves to Truck Simpson, used title gloves with blood on it and everything. People was confused as to where these title gloves was coming from. It wasn't from Team Edmonds. It wasn't from them. Check out the video.
That's how they do us. Always gloves.
Did you hear the guy say that's how they do us? Come on, man. Come on, but these guys has been in the game. They understand. Like, how is that how they do us? They're pretty much explaining the glove situation. They didn't get a chance to check out the gloves like it was supposed to ahead of time. So they're getting bombarded at the last minute. The quality of gloves has such a separation in between them that we're talking about boxing now, how people sit up here in front of the camera and act like boxing is so precious, treat them with respect and everything else. And then they don't even give a fuck about the fighter going out there, not even checking the gloves. But yet you see fighters with glove situations, right? Maestre, Michael Fox. It's been in boxing for the longest of time. Why would he want to go out there with some gloves that he say pillows and let them be fighting in grants? And if the gloves had freaking blood on them, where do you think you was fighting? You wasn't at the MGM, dog. What was you fighting, man? Come on, bro. What did you think you was fighting? Are we tripping? Y'all was fighting in Arizona A hole in the wall, man. So what were you thinking? You was gonna get some brand new gloves and their title gloves, but they've been worn already. If you was in there and you was hearing everything that was going on, obviously, right? They weren't paying attention to both sides, and they just refused to disclose what was going on both sides. But this is the media that needs to be talked about, because they up there portraying Tyi in a bad way, but yet there's a lot of inconsistencies. There's a lot of areas that they had to defend themselves on in person. You know what I'm saying? For their fighters, starting with the contract, and then finding out the promoter they wasn't going to get paid the purse that they initially agreed upon. And then even, Devin Haney trying, pretty much trying to pay the money. And they and team being smart enough to say, we want the money in a contract, because our fighter still needs insurance. If anything happens in that ring to our fighter, who's going to pay for his medicals? What's insurance? And they don't want to do that. That just goes to show you how boxing is, man.
But they act like we were the ones that gave them bloody title gloves. That was not us. The commissioner.
Yeah, that was the commissioner did that.
The commissioner found the gloves and did that. And so when I saw the clip where they had the gloves circled talking about they wanted them to fight in some bloody title gloves, I'm like, we didn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah.
There you go. You heard it for yourself. They had nothing to do with the title gloves that had blood on them. Team Tyi Edmonds has nothing to do with the bloody gloves that you've seen on the video. One-sided media is just, it's the worst, man. So that's why I had to reach out. I had to reach out and get a side of the story, because I've been there. I've seen it. I've been the lens in the back of the room. I've seen a lot of this go on. But unfortunately, man, people trying to make a big deal as if it was a one side. They're like, how the B side? So let's just say Tyi Edmonds the B side. How is he making everything move? You know what I'm saying? He's the B side, and y'all putting everything in his lap, even though he's going against the current, right? Y'all trying to have this man go all the way downstream off the waterfall and shit.
It was putting a lot on y'all, especially, they made it seem like y'all didn't want to fight in title gloves. I mean, y'all was going to fight in title gloves, and I don't know, and Dave was going to fight in Grant, and then they say, no, we have to play it on an even playing field. We both going to fight in title, or we both going to fight in Grant. That was a little bit of the word.
Yeah, they brought us hidden moves. I can tell you.
Title was never even presented until they said, all right, well, we ain't fighting. And they coughed up, and they was able to find two pair of 10-ounce titles, and that's when everybody was back in agreement.
Right.
They, as in the commissioner, whoever, found two pairs of titles. Not Team Tyi Edmonds, not Team Edmonds. They didn't bring the title gloves over there. All right. And initially, when you heard about them mentioning about the Grant gloves, they didn't want to fight in no hidden moves. They didn't want to fight in no hidden moves, bro. So you tell me, is that smart, or do you consider it foolish? I'm going to consider it extremely smart that they didn't want to fight in no gloves that they never heard of called hidden moves.
So the promoter, we was like, when will we have the meeting? When are we going to have the coaches meet? They was like, coaches meeting? Y'all didn't get talked to? We was like, no, nobody had.
Yeah, they're gonna do that.
It was no way that y'all can kind of check the promoter before y'all went down there. Like y'all pretty much never heard of this guy, or what?
We personally never heard of him, but the management team found the fight. Mm-hmm. And by them finding the fight, we didn't know anything about it, about them. Because it's kind of like me being a promoter. I may not know who the other promoter is that it has this contract with this fighter, but they're bringing this fighter to my show. They don't know me and I don't know them, but you just think that they're legit and that they know what they're doing.
Gotcha.
So obviously, you know, when the manager was on the phone with me, he's like, I can't believe these guys did this. He said, you know, this is crazy. He said, because the money should have been secured at least a week ahead of time. I said, I know. I said, because when I had my shows, if you got somebody fighting on my card and you're paying them, I need that money in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
I need to know that the money is there, because if not, nobody's doing anything. So, you know, that was a problem, you know, about the money issue. And like I said, if the lady never would have came in, she was with Sweet Science. She was sanctioned to do the show. The people that she co-promoted with were not sanctioned in Phoenix to do a show. So they were co-promoting together. She was the only one that was sanctioned.
So we always hear about the sliminess when it comes to the underbelly of boxing. This is a perfect example. You have a promoter that's sanctioned and a promoter that isn't. How can the money be in the hands of the promoter that is not sanctioned as a co-promotion? It's all bad. It has all the signs of failing. And that's exactly why it was fractured the way it did. And this fight broke in half.
So the people that were supposed to pay us, that was the co-promoter.
Okay.
And they didn't have any, you know, they didn't have the money there and just wanted us to sign a bunch of paperwork. And I was like, no. I said, I need to know. I said, you know, tell me this. I said, before we sign anything, I said, is the money in the building? She said, well, the guy is here, the promoter is here, but I don't have a check or I don't have any money yet. And I said, well, no, we're not signing anything. I said, let me ask you this. I said, why is the main event scratched? She said, because the money wasn't in the building. I said, well, you think we're fixing a fight? And she just looked and she was like, well, this is just so I won't be liable for the original purse. So I have to put an amount on here, and I'm only putting $100 on here. So if he doesn't pay y'all, you only get $100. I was like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, you ain't finessing us to no $100. And then you ain't putting us on no IOU either. So we just said, no, we're not with this.
No. So everybody the ones I know for sure, there were 3 of them that got paid $100. One was from the Philippines, and the other 2 were from they were Hispanic guys. So all 3 of them were paid $100 to my knowledge.
Well, that just proves that you have some smart individuals in boxing that understands the dark side of boxing. You know what I'm saying? Because boxing can turn some heads the wrong way. And I want to commend y'all for pretty much doing it the right way. Because I say, well, they sticking to the paperwork like they supposed to. And it turned out good for y'all.
It's not a lot of people that's out here viewing it the way you viewing it. But like I said, we don't. I'm new to all this, so we really don't care what people and opinions people have about us, you know. So, but we do appreciate you looking at the side of it, the way you viewing it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna listen to this again. I'm gonna listen to it again. I was watching as it was playing out, man, and I was saying, okay, you know, the fighter is over there, maintain his composure and everything. He's just basically soaking everything in, and then you had the moving parts with your mom and your dad, and you know they
were trying to stay professional about everything.
Correct.
But it just like the way they were trying to do business was just dirty, and I was like, nah, like that was throwing me off mentally because I'm like, I don't like the way this feel. You know, this feel real like grimy, like street type. And I'm like, this don't feel nothing about this feel professional, and I honor everything inside of my contract. So I don't feel like this, you know.
And Tyi is no thug. So, I mean, he's just not saying anybody else is, but they can't, you know, Tyi is that's why it goes back to his demeanor. He's quiet. He don't bother nobody. He's not a thug. He's the kind of person, he gonna sit back, he gonna watch a situation. And as his sister say, he never gets mad. She said, Mama, I needed him to be mad right then, and he wasn't mad. So, it's just the way he is. So they were reading his body language as if he's sitting back with a scared little boy look. No, Tyi's just unbothered. He's always unbothered.
He was listening. He was listening.
He was listening, but he's just one of them people. He's not gonna let you get him out of his character.
Sometimes it's good to listen, and you know when they said, "Hey, you the fighter," he didn't come off his square. He said, "Hey, if they say it's not good to get in the ring, I'm not getting in the ring."
Yep. Yep. He's like, we've been around him this long and been watching his career. I mean, we've been watching him since he could square up and get in there at 8 years old. So
okay.
They don't understand. They didn't, and I found out tonight by talking to somebody, they said it was a comment made about the way he walked in looking like he came off of a construction site or something, because he had his blue jeans on and, his shoes. Well, yeah, he's an electrician. But the thing is, I know what that has to do with fight. I'm like, why y'all even worried about how he walked in? What he's supposed to walk in flashy? He's a working man.
Correct.
He's not a money whore. I don't care if Devin Haney is throwing money at him. It's not about the money. It's the principle of it. And that's what everybody is missing. It's the principle of it. You don't bombard people and then just expect for them to do what you want them to do. It just don't work that way.
I couldn't have said it better. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. When I seen it, I was like, man, I bet that's just a disaster. You know what I'm saying? They feel in a whole lot of ways other than happy, and a lot of people are talking about it, but they just putting you out there in a bad light as if, Tyi was scared. As I say, he didn't come off as being scared. And plus, you look at his box rec, he had better competition. You know what I'm saying? So the guy's not a bum, as you would call it, as they was trying to call it, like he didn't want to fight.
Hey, but that's what I'm saying. His team came over there after everything went down. We did the interview, praising me. Like they said, we know you're durable. You got the record. You're nice. The word is out. We know you're a good fighter. That's why we wanted this test. But then when Devin Haney rolled in there, I'm talking about all of that switched up.
If that sound familiar to y'all, that sound familiar. The switch up, the old switcheroo. If that sound familiar? You tell me. Was it not a lot of moving parts to this debacle? Was it not a lot of moving parts? Well, they were just trying to throw this man out there in the ring to fend for itself. It could have checked, or it could have got him X'd. Period. He could have went out there with everything he just experienced and fought a different fight than he ever fought in his career. Or he could have went out there and failed miserably. And fought the worst fight of his career due to everything that consumed him while he was going through the glove situation, the pace situation, and all the voices that was in there, all the moving parts. They felt like they was bombarded. This stuff happens, man. And certain individuals, if you're going to put out there the narrative that Devin Haney was going to just pay $100, and this has nothing to do with Team Haney or nothing, because I know my brothers love sitting up here injecting their own feces into a narrative. When I'm speaking about just $100, the damage could have exceeded that tenfold if it was no insurance, none at all, and they made an agreement with Devin Haney just to keep the co-main event for their fighter, because obviously they had people on deck, and he went out there and got hurt. That fighter could have very well changed his life for the bad, and also his family's life for the bad. He would have went out there, potentially got hurt, and then have the medical, or it could have been expenses that wasn't covered under insurance that the family may not have been able to cover. And also, mom and dad has to live with the onus of making that decision and not standing ground, even though they said, hey, ultimately, you're the fighter. You need to make your own decisions. They said that. But let's be real about it. That's family. That's family. And they're going to double check one way or the other. His pops was right there. His mom was right there. They're going to double check. Yeah, he's the fighter, but they was definitely going to double check and say, where your mind at right now? Do you feel like this and that and the other? Everything else, what I'm saying? They had to check some bullet points off. They had to check some boxes to make sure everything was good to go. It's a lot of right in what they did, even though people are here trying to paint them in a picture where, You know, they excoriating these people. You know, they trying to vilify them out here in the social media as if he was scared and didn't want to fight. Man, this is the bullshit that goes on in boxing, man.
All right, because I ain't seen that interview you talking about.
Now it's cameras on. Now he redo the whole thing and they paint me in a bad light. But you just seconds ago, we was in a positive light and your manager sitting right here in agreement with everything we saying. But then when Haney and all his people showed up, all that went out the window. So it's like, all right, we, you know, like they said, you can push, but we just weren't feeling it at that point.
I feel you. Yeah, I feel you. I mean, I have to tell you.
We were trying to stay cool about it, but you know, and I think we did a good job.
No, you did a good job with maintaining.
We all say never hit it, but it was starting to get at us, you know.
Thesis.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, on camera, you know what was going on, man. If you would have, you know, lost your wits and everything and just got upset, yeah, they would have definitely blasted that on YouTube and say, look what happened. You know, that just proves that he was scared to go in there. You know, he lost that poise that they look for in a fighter. You know, so it's a lot of people saying a lot of things. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's just for this fight not to happen, y'all the topic of discussion. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and that's crazy because you had Tevin Farmer and Mickey Bey at the hotel go live on YouTube saying the exact same thing, how the money went in the building, how they paid them, so they left, but we're the bad guys. It's okay for him to do it, but it's not okay for us to do it. Why? Because y'all want to make the big deal about the fact that Devin Haney walks in the room and says that we're gonna pay. But yeah, you went truck. That's who you went.
Yeah.
So you coming in there throwing money like we some. I mean, yeah, we from Mississippi, like we some money whores or something. And I mean, you don't know enough about us to know that we didn't turn down more money than we'll ever probably make. So that's the part that was crazy to me. You know, everybody's looking at the fact, Devin Haney, why would you not take the opportunity with him standing there? That could have been an opportunity. He's with that camp. So how is it an opportunity for us?
True. And that was a solid point you made earlier about the insurance perspective. Because a lot of people can talk about boxing, but they don't know the business. That's period. We can talk about on this media platform. We can talk about it, but we don't know the business side like that. And for you to mention about the insurance, that makes sense. Like, okay, who's going to take care of him if he get hurt?
I don't get caught up in the comments and entertain all that. You know, like, people don't really understand what's going on. They only see what they small man. So it's like they just say, okay, he's scared. So we just going to keep it at that. So I'm not even going to entertain people that's the conclusion they come up with. He's scared, you know, okay, all right.
Yeah, because he been inboxed with nasty comments, people cussing him out, saying all kinds of stuff. I mean, they just one person. He don't ever need to be able to fight again, and all this. Okay, but you're not saying that about Tevin Farmer. You're not saying that about Mickey Bey. They walked out the building as soon as they got in the building. They left.
Yeah, they did.
Because their money wasn't there, but because y'all went on camera and Devin Haney and them bombarded the room. Now we're the talk because we're painted as the bad guys. But nobody's saying anything about the same fact that Farmer left because they didn't have his money.
Maybe they wanted to think he was an easy touch. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to get that. They wanted to get that win. You know, that's all. Had to be. You know how boxing is, Mama. You've been there. You know what I'm saying? You've been there, man.
Yeah, that's why, and that's the reason why when you heard my husband say, which is Tyi's trainer and coach, you heard him say everything was stacked against them, and they like, how? Think about it. You got the matchmaker / co-promoter that runs in the room, and he's on their side. That was earlier about a situation. Then you have Devin Haney walks in there with Truck, with the rest of the team. And then you don't have any commissioners that are back there. The only commissioner that was standing back there, he's just standing back there looking. And then when I mentioned about the insurance deal, he looks around and he says, yeah, she's correct. You know, but he just stands there. So my thing is, you know, you got, when we say everything's stacked against us, we're on an uneven playing field already. I mean, you don't want to verbally hear us say that it could, you know, that it could go y'all way because of your money and because of who you have in your corner and all this. But we all know everybody's human. Everybody, you're going to be biased. I mean, unless you knock the guy out, you can forget it. I mean, that's just the truth.
True. I agree with that.
So, I mean, you know, not saying that, you know, you know, a fight is a fight and they both go in there. They're supposed to go in there on an even playing field, true enough. But that's the reason why he said the odds are against us because Tyi don't supposed to win the fight.
But he was speaking some truth though.
Yeah.
A lot of truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he was actually trying to mediate the situation when, you know, whoever the dude was that was talking real fast and everything, and he's like, you bumping your gums a lot, but you ain't listening. And I just felt like, they listen to what y'all saying. They're not going to place their fighter. I didn't know at first that was your son. I didn't know. But all I knew was it seems like y'all was pretty much listening to everything. You was being attentive. And you wasn't just gonna make no haste decision, and I want to salute y'all on that. That was good. That was good.
They just didn't want to make a decision off of impulse. So I was like, let's just hear what they got to say. All right, can y'all give us a minute to talk this out real quick?
Yeah.
So can y'all just step out? We talk this over. Let's give Haney this number and let's go to work. So we come up with the number, but somebody from their camp, I guess his brother or somebody, just come in and say, you know what, y'all don't even worry about it. And then they just walked out the room. So I was like, all right, well, that's the end of that. Let's take all this stuff off. Let's go.
I know. For the
is that's how it ended, huh?
Yeah. I mean, as soon as we came up with our number, he just, some guy with the glasses came in and was like, you know what, y'all don't even worry about it, and walked out.
Yeah, the camera went on that part.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, the camera went on that part because that's why I said, you know, even considering at that point, you know, we was like, hey, Tyi kept saying, I got a lot of people that are supporting me. I got a lot of people that really wanted to see me back in the ring because my last fight, I had COVID. I was fighting with COVID and didn't know it, you know, and I, you know, even though I felt like I won the fight, I want to be in my best of health and I want to do what I got to do. You know, I want to come here and show that I belong here.
Correct.
So for that to happen, you know, it was just, you know, he was like, yeah, I want to fight. And I said, well, let me make a phone call. Let me see what your management team says. You know, see if we can, you know, if I can get the okay from them and we can get somebody to write it up, then cool. But we're going to have it in writing. So by that time, when I'm on the phone, the guy walks in and he says, never mind, don't even worry about it. And he walks off. So that was the end of that.
It was a crazy situation, but we just trying to get our side out, like you said. We just trying to tell our side of the story.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate y'all for allowing me that opportunity and explaining it all to me from the outside looking in. What do you have to say to your fans out there, Tyi?
Man, I just appreciate everybody supporting me and stand behind me like they are, and just, I mean, stand down on all them comments because anybody that stand with me know that I wasn't scared and I was there to represent. And like I said, just stay tuned for the next one because we are already working on the next one right now. So I'm going to stay ready. And it'll be sooner than later. And I know they're ready too. That's what everybody's calling and contacting me about. So we're going to jump right back in there and give everybody what they want to see.
And there it is. Hey, once again, I want to tell y'all thank you for allowing me this exclusive interview. I had to kind of get the understanding from you all, get the story from you all, from what I was hearing. And I would definitely let you know how it goes, man. I'll probably post it up tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to do a live on it and kind of go a little bit in detail on what I've heard. But hey, thank y'all very much from World Combat Sports.
That's what it is. Hey, once again, shout out to Team Tyi Edmond. Appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate everyone that was in the chat. Let me get to some of these comments, of course. Get the Smoke said thesis of feces. Feces, bro. You already know my tongue twang. I said they injecting feces. You know what I'm saying? Because it didn't make any sense, bro. And I didn't want to, like, use any vulgarity in that. Come on now, Smoke. Come on, Smoke. Obi said, I don't know about the quality, but I'm seeing that the hidden move gloves cost more than the grants. Looking at the hidden moves website, they cost $250. They, according to which type of grants you get, grants cost way more than hidden moves. And just because a glove may cost more than doesn't make it quality. We already know that. Just because they cost a certain, they say they never heard of the glove. So if they never heard or work with the glove, they're not going to use it for the first time on that fight night. It makes all the sense in the world, man. People go off familiarity. That's not only for them competing in the ring, but using in sparring and training too. They're not gonna work with some gloves and then all of a sudden they don't work with, let's just say they work with rivals. They know what rivals are about. They know how long it takes to wear out a pair of rival gloves. You know what I'm saying? They know. Then they use Grant, and they've used them in training too. They know how long it takes for you to wear down Grants, and they know how it feels in the ring, sparring, and so forth. Even maybe in fights. So they supposed to be familiar with rival and Grant, but they supposed to use some hidden moves on this night. That's not even a debate, Obi. But once again, I always got to say, man, it's just your opinion, my opinion. I'm just giving my opinion, brother. No disrespect. Go say a lot of agendas being pushed against this brother. Yeah, man, they had a lot to deal with, bro. And they team did an excellent job with sticking to the paperwork. Because he would have went in there and anything would have happened. Because first of all, they didn't even get a chance to see the gloves ahead of time. So if anything physical, we're talking about any injuries, they would have had to take care of that on their own. That could have been all bad. So being that his mom chose to go make a phone call to verify, that changed everything. Because they were just saying, just like on the video, with Mickey Bey and and everything, no, nothing against Mickey Bey. Well, I'm just saying, like, the narrative being pushed with Devin's gonna pay the 100. Devin's gonna pay the 100. What about the insurance though? Because you fight under somebody else, that's a legal binding contract or situation that you have binding with Haney now. And so Haney has to find somebody to draft up a contract. He knows he takes more responsibility now on this fighter that he can care less about. He can care less about that fighter. If you look at the video in general, they said, well, he's worrying about if this, him using pillow gloves or whatever the case, about getting hurt and stuff. They said he's going to get hurt anyway. Look at the video. So if you're saying that Tyi was going to get hurt by Truck Simpson, then isn't it smart for you to understand why they made the decision that they did with the paperwork? Why insurance had to be included? I got it. Tyi Edmonds' head must have been all over the place with all that BS going on. Glad they stuck up for themselves. You have to. You have to stick up for yourself, man. You have to. I believe wholeheartedly in sticking up for yourself. And anybody have a problem with you sticking up for yourself? I mean, hey, man, they can put him on Devin Haney promotion card if they really want that fight. Yes, sir. Can't they? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Shaw News, they can do that, right? That's DHP Promotions. If you really want the, people talking about the fight now. So put it on DHP Promotion. People talking about that shit now. $100 to fight and some backyard brawl type of nonsense. That's what I'm saying, Obi. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't $100 initially. It was more. But you found out it was a co-promotion fight. So the co-promoter happened to be the front for the money. They didn't have the money on deck. Who left the building? Bey and Farmer. Gone. They said there's no need for us to stick around. So then now they go to the co-main event because they felt it would be easier for somebody who need the money a little bit more or whatever the case. But hey, they looked at the smallest crumb on the table, $100 crumb. Oh, this is nothing, man. This is nothing. We're gonna get this win. We're gonna get this record. We're gonna get this record. We're gonna get this record on our box rec. Don't worry about it. Hey, I got the money, man. Hell, shit. Hey, Shaw, you know, you can get some food vouchers for that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much does it take to put $100? That's nothing. But we must reiterate that his team, if you was gonna pay it, give us a contract. Let's do the paperwork. And when that came up, and when she found out insurance, it voiced the insurance, and everything would lie beneath the umbrella of Devin Haney, and you know they weren't gonna do it. That's when they canceled everything. Nah, forget about it. They're doing too much research. They're doing too much. Shaw News say great content, great video, and real media work. YTC channels, pay attention, man. Much appreciated, man. You know what I'm saying? Devin was team truck. Yeah, they came in some bullshit. The whole energy was wrong. The approach Haney made was wrong. Hey, man, speak your mind, bro. Speak your mind, Ghost. You know, like I said, this is nothing against Team Haney, but man, we're talking about, do you want the people to respect boxing, or do you want it to look at it like everything is a hustle? It's all about how smart you can be, that, you know, outside of the ring to bring your opponent in there with the least advantage possible. We're talking about mentally stressed the fuck out, depleted, all that shit. I mean, that happens all the time. Just think about people not putting rematch clauses in there unless it benefits one person, and then rehydration clauses and all this other shit. Unregulated sport, and you're going to get some grimy decisions, bro. Shaw News say people don't understand what's going on, but hey, what do I know, YTC channels? This is the hurt business. It is, bro. It's the hurt business, and people think it's a game. This was very necessary because I only knew what DHP was saying. Hey, man, that's what I try to do, man. That's what I try to do. It's not like it's impossible to get in contact with people. You can get in contact, especially if they see your content out there. You can get in contact and get interviews, man. Damn, I hope dude signed the PBC a top rank to get paid. He risking his life. Seriously doubt that's gonna happen anytime soon. This type of shady business pisses me off. I'm glad Simpson and his family get to tear their side to somebody. It was Tyi Edmond who was telling the story. I'm Lost W says, can you summarize this situation? I can't summarize it right now. Well, I'll summarize it to a point where a fight went down in Arizona, right? A fight card went down in Arizona where Mickey Bey and Tevin Farmer was supposed to be the main event. The fight was co-promoted. All right. You know well as I do that the money was supposed to be somewhat verified. So a lot of things wasn't looking good from the start because one of the promoters was sanctioned for Arizona and one wasn't. The one that wasn't didn't have the money. So when the fighters start, they're waiting and everything, and it's getting closer to the fight card, people want to, know about the money because you had Bey and Farmer on there, and then in the co-main event, you had Edmond and Simpson. So when it gets down to the main event, asking where the money, because they was probably getting paid the most, of course. People asking questions: the money on deck yet? The money on deck yet? The money on deck yet? It wasn't on deck. So now everything starts to boil over on the surface where no, the co-promoter don't have the money. All right, then the commission's running around. They're only giving little bits and pieces. Money's not there. So if the commission don't have it, like their only line of defense is to keep telling them, hey, it's nothing I can do, it's nothing I can do, it's nothing I can do. So sooner or later, the fight falls out. They don't have the money. Bey and Farmer leaves. Simpson and his people, trained by Kevin Ford, which had nothing to do with this. Now comes, Lorenzo Truck Simpson's team, which is, Devin Haney, and all that over to the locker room of Tyi Edmonds. If you look at the videos, you find on Blue Blood Sports TV and everything. I cited him inside the details. Of course, somebody trying to say anything. You know, all this shit come over. They come over like they said. They come in and bombard them. And they're talking about, hey, this, that, and the other. Do you want to fight? You know, the money's here, this, that, and the other. And like you said before, the media that was basically in there initially was talking good, you know. I've seen that happen before too. They was talking good. They was giving him his plaudits and all this stuff. And then when Devin Haney showed up, it was quite the opposite. But $100 to Devin Haney ain't shit. He can pay that. But this where it became the discrepancy. With that $100, the fighter accepts the $100 he's just made because the promotion that he was gonna fight, you know, initially he had the contract with. That pretty much is non and void right now. So if he has a second exchange with Haney for $100 to pay him, now becomes a binding contract for him to say, I'll still fight on the card. Because from my understanding, fights was going on the undercard. The fights was going on. Okay. So in order to keep the co-main event and save something, because, you know, he's attached to Devin Haney, they was trying to say, listen, the co-promoter or the promoter, no, it was co-promoter. They wanted them to sign new contracts saying I'm not liable for the original purse that the fighters were supposed to get. So with that said, she wanted to the co-promoter wanted to pretty much say as much as the fighters are going to get right now is $100. $100. That's it. That's the max revenue the purse the fighter's gonna receive. So you either sign a contract for that, or when Devin Haney came in, you say, look, I'll pay the $100. So they like, okay, you pay the $100. We want paperwork with that too. The paperwork pretty much is going to say, this is what we have binding agreement with DHP and so forth to make this fight happen, because the original deal is off the table. They wasn't able to meet, you know, what they put in there. They wasn't even able to meet the needs of the fighter. So now Devin Haney's paying $100, and internally to that contract, with all the other language, there has to be something in there that the liability has to be placed to DHP Promotions, if that's what they was going to do. Not just Devin Haney, but DHP Promotions. It's not going to just be like me and you playing dice, and I win and you reach in your pocket. Okay, man, here your bill, and keep it moving. That's what it sounds like, right, in the video. So that's not the case. They said, we want to do paperwork. The mother steps out. Hey, I'll make this phone call right quick. She makes the phone call to verify, says some stuff. Somebody confirmed. Yeah, that's true. What was confirmed? That if she make a deal with Devin Haney, Devin has a draft of a contract, and they have to provide insurance to basically cover the damage or whatever happens. They have to take liability or whatever happened with that fighter for medical. And you know how it goes, man. They wasn't going to do that. They wasn't going to do it. So now that they found out they was going to stick to their guns, it wasn't $100 that was the big deal. It was the contract for the insurance. That's their son. That's their son. Not only their fighter, but that's their son. They know their son can then fight, but goddamn it, he split the ropes on this night after everything that he's experienced, and go in there and gets hurt because he's not mentally stable, or he's mentally distracted. They have to foot the bill medically. So it's not just $100 like it was in the videos. Like, yeah, you know, Devin agreed to pay the $100. You know, he got the money, which is nothing to him. They know he had the money for $100, but then we have to fight. So you want us to go in there and do some ghetto ass backyard schoolyard type shit and just fight. Like Ty said now it turns into a street fight basically, because there ain't shit on the table. Paperwork wise, I don't have no insurance. You know what I'm saying? Who's taking care of me? So man, salute to them for sticking to their guns. That's a summation and a nutshell there, Smoke. You're making this Confrontational. It is not. I said nothing about the quality. All I brought up was the price. You actually agree with me, and vice versa. I don't know what you're talking about confrontational, man. I'm speaking, and just because my tone is expressing in a way that I'm trying to be adamant about pushing this story and getting out, the second side to it. That's it, man. You ain't saying anything to make me confrontational. All I'm saying is just because something has a price point on it, it doesn't mean the quality of it is better than the Grant gloves. All because you picked out one glove that was hit and move, and you say, well, they cost it the rivals. I'm pretty sure you can find some rival gloves out there for $250. I'm pretty sure you can find some Grant gloves out there for like $750. But the quality of the glove, I mean, it's different glove makers out there, man. It's nothing that was confrontational, bro. We good. Filling up my cart takes $130. Yeah, but it wasn't all. It wasn't just about the $100. It was about the insurance that would be absent. You know what I'm saying, for this fighter. That's all. All right. You can't even fill up gas tank and get a bite to eat with $100. You can't do anything. And then I don't know if y'all remember, his mother's talking about the Filipino fighter. Went in there and fought for $100 off whatever contract. And they over there talking about, oh, we made a bad decision. And she said he got his jaw broke. How are they supposed to make that work? And I don't know. I'm not privy to what the second contract was outside of the original purse. The original purse might have had this Filipino fighter getting $1,200. $1,200 is different than $1. And then also, if they signed another contract, if that contract was with the co-promoter, I'm assuming he still has insurance for it. I don't know. But going into a fight, getting your jaw broken for $100, anybody will tell you that shit ain't worth it, man. That shit ain't worth it, bro. That shit is not worth it. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. That shit is not worth it. But I'm not gonna stay on here too long. Man, appreciate y'all pulling up, man. Thank you for pulling up, as always, supporting the channel. I just had to get this story out. And I really want to keep it on, without bleeding over into other boxing topics and everything. Shout out to both fighters, man. Tyi Edmonds and Truck Simpson, but it was a lot of discrepancies in here. There's a lot of discrepancies in the videos that's out there. It wasn't about just a fighter and $100 and people just looking at $100. Hell, I know fighters that sign contracts for $1. That doesn't mean they're getting paid $1. In this case, the $100 was anchored more so in just the face value of the money outside of the original contract. If the promoter don't have the money and somebody else offer the money, then you're dealing with somebody else that has nothing to do with the promotion that you signed for the original fight. It's done. That contract is over. Now you're making a deal with somebody else. You take the $100 and go out there and get hurt. DHP is not liable if you didn't do paperwork. So this, like they said, we're not money whores. We're not crackheads, so to speak. We're just going to take $100 because we need to go in there and fight. It just seems like Truck Simpson and them wanted to fight under any conditions. It don't seem like they was looking out for the fighter. Because even with the glove situation, Team Edmonds really wasn't able to put eyes on the gloves and the selection of the gloves or whatever and agree on it. We have all this day of type shit. No, man, gloves are important. Gloves are very, very important. You put them in some hidden moves with a pillow glove, vice grants. And then they didn't want to switch up the grants. They said they'll switch them up to rivals and then turn around and say, no, if we're gonna switch them up, you need to take your wraps off. And they still didn't want to switch out from the grants. Come on, man. You undefeated, bro. Anyway, Big Blunts and Boxing. Salute to you, big dog. Y'all definitely check out Shaw News Y'all check out these young channels that's on the come up. Check out Big Bunsen Boxing. You know what I'm saying? Thanks to everybody who pulled up. Hopefully you got some out of this live, as always. And man, until next time, man, y'all turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports.